My name is Diego, and I was there when Jessica's story changed forever. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon in April, and the air was thick with anticipation as she stood at the edge of the park, her heart racing. Just moments before, she had confronted her ex-husband about the lies that had haunted her for years. In that moment, she smiled, a flicker of hope in her eyes, but the weight of betrayal lingered like the scent of rain on pavement, sharp and bitter. The soft sound of wind chimes danced in the breeze, a cruel reminder of innocence lost. As she faced him, her heart ached, torn between the desire for closure and the fear of what lay ahead. She smiled but trembled, a striking contradiction that echoed the turmoil inside her. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that this confrontation would unravel secrets that could change everything she thought she knew. It had all started innocently enough with a Christmas card she received months earlier, its cheerful design starkly contrasting the turmoil brewing in her life. The card, with its glossy finish and warm wishes, had been a reminder of better days, a time when love felt genuine. But as she now stood before her ex-husband, that card felt like a cruel joke, a symbol of everything that had been twisted and tainted. Little did she realize that the truths hidden within those festive greetings were just the beginning of a revelation that would shake her world to its core. Jessica stood at the kitchen counter, the rich aroma of morning coffee swirling around her like a comforting embrace. The sun peeked through the window, casting a warm glow over the living room, where holiday decorations shimmered in anticipation of the season. She had spent the last week transforming their home into a winter wonderland, each ornament hanging from the tree a testament to her family's traditions. With each delicate snowflake and shimmering star, she felt the spirit of Christmas fill her heart. She glanced over at the dining table, which was covered in an array of colorful cookies. Today was the day of the neighborhood cookie exchange, and Jessica was determined to make it memorable. The sound of wind chimes gently swaying outside added to the festive atmosphere, blending with the laughter and chatter of friends who would soon fill her home. This was her favorite part of the holiday season, sharing stories, laughter, and the warmth of community. As she mixed a fresh batch of gingerbread dough, memories of her childhood flooded back. She could almost hear her mother's voice, guiding her through the process, the kitchen filled with the sweet scent of spices and the thrill of anticipation. "You know, my grandma used to have this amazing collection of Christmas cards," Mark said, entering the kitchen with a warm smile. He leaned against the doorframe, his eyes sparkling with nostalgia. Every year, she'd display them all. "And I loved reading the messages from our family and friends." Jessica stopped staring for a moment, a smile creeping onto her face. "I can't believe you still remember that. We should start our own collection," she suggested playfully. "I'll make a tradition out of it." Mark laughed, his eyes shining with admiration. "You always know how to make things special, Jess." Their conversation flowed easily, a blend of laughter and shared memories, reinforcing the bond they had built over the years. Mark's presence was a constant source of comfort, and Jessica cherished their shared love for the holiday season. But beneath that warmth, a flicker of unease began to stir. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was lingering in the shadows, just out of sight. Later that evening, as the cookie exchange unfolded, Jessica's home buzzed with excitement. Friends mingled, exchanging stories and treats, while the sound of laughter echoed through the living room. Tara, Jessica's sister, stood off to the side, her expression a mix of admiration and something else, something that felt like resentment. Jessica caught her eye and smiled, but Tara quickly turned her gaze away, her lips pressed in a thin line. Thought, "It's like she's always competing with me, even during the holidays." As the evening wound down, Jessica felt a sense of accomplishment. She had successfully hosted another cookie exchange, and the atmosphere was filled with the warm glow of friendship. But just as she was about to join the group for one last round of laughter, a knock echoed through the house, cutting through the festive chatter. Who could that be? Jessica wondered aloud, her heart racing with curiosity. She opened the door, and her breath caught in her throat. There, on her doorstep, stood a neatly wrapped envelope. Confused, she picked it up and noticed there was no return address, no name to indicate who had sent it. "Jessica, everything okay?" Mark called from the living room, his voice laced with concern. "Yeah, just a card," she replied, her heart pounding as she carefully tore open the envelope. Inside, she found a beautifully designed Christmas card, adorned with elegant snowflakes and a handwritten note that sent her heart plummeting to her stomach. "Oh my God," she whispered, her hands trembling as she read the words. "I've never stopped loving you." It was signed simply, "Mark's old friend." In that moment, the joyous laughter of the evening faded into a haunting silence. The festive lights twinkled mockingly around her, and the smell of baked cookies turned bitter in her mouth. In the living room, it hurt like betrayal. Jessica felt a wave of nausea wash over her. She turned to see Mark approaching, his expression shifting from curiosity to alarm as he caught sight of the card in her hand. "Jess, what's wrong?" "I can't believe this," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who is this?" Mark's face paled, and Jessica could see the shadows of his past flickering in his eyes. "It's not what you think," he said quickly, stepping closer. But Jessica took a step back, her heart racing. "Then what is it? Because it looks like your ex has some unresolved feelings." Mark opened his mouth to respond, but the words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. Jessica's heart sank deeper as she realized that the joy of the season had turned into a chilling uncertainty. The warmth of Christmas felt distant now, overshadowed by the echoes of betrayal and unforgotten love. Jessica gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Mark noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." The morning light filtered through the sheer curtains of Jessica's kitchen, casting a warm glow over the half-finished cookie platter on the counter. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of cinnamon and nutmeg. As she poured herself a cup, she noticed a small envelope resting on the table, stark against the rustic wood. It was unmarked, with no return address, and the absence of a signature sent a chill down her spine. Curiosity tugged at her, but a deeper feeling of unease settled in as she picked it up. What could this possibly be? Jessica's heart raced as she opened the envelope, revealing a simple card adorned with a delicate winter scene. Inside, it read, "Thinking of you this holiday season." The lack of a name left her puzzled, and suddenly she felt exposed, like someone had peered into the most intimate corners of her life. "Hey, Jess, everything all right?" Frank's voice broke through her thoughts as he stepped onto the porch. The wind chimes tinkled softly, a gentle reminder of the season, but the sound felt distant against the pounding of her heart. "I received this card," she said, holding it up for him to see. "No name, no return address. It just feels wrong." Frank studied her face. Concern etched in his features. "You think it's a prank?" He took a sip of his coffee, the steam rising between them. "I don't know," Jessica sighed, her mind racing. "But it feels personal, and Mark has been acting strange lately, getting calls and texts he brushes off as work. I can't shake this feeling that something's off." "Have you talked to him about it?" Frank asked, his brow furrowing. "I haven't yet. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but..." She hesitated, memories of their life together flashing through her mind, the laughter, the shared dreams. "I can't help but wonder if it's connected." Later that evening, Jessica prepared for the neighborhood holiday party, trying to shake off the lingering dread from the card. She slipped into a festive red dress that hugged her curves, hoping to feel a spark of joy amidst the uncertainty. Mark was already there, mingling with guests, his charm on full display. As she entered the room, the soft sounds of laughter and holiday music enveloped her, but her heart sank when she caught a snippet of conversation between two guests. "Did you hear about Emma? She's back in town," one woman said, her voice laced with intrigue. Jessica's ears perked up at the mention of the name, Emma. the woman who once held a place in Mark's heart. Jessica's stomach churned as she moved closer, trying to catch more of the conversation. "I heard she's been reaching out to old friends. Mark was pretty torn up when they split," the other woman replied, her tone conspiratorial. Jessica felt the floor drop beneath her. "Oh my God, I can't believe this. The card? The secret of calls? Was there a connection?" Her mind raced with possibilities, each one darker than the last. "Hey, Jess," Mark approached her with a bright smile, oblivious to the turmoil brewing inside her. "You look amazing. What do you think of the party?" "I think we need to talk," she said, her voice steady but her insides twisting. Mark's smile faltered slightly. "About what?"
"About you and Emma," Jessica replied, the words hanging heavy in the air between them.
Mark's expression shifted to one of surprise, then concern. "What do you mean?"
"I overheard something today. You've been getting calls and texts. Don't act like it's nothing." Jessica's heart raced as she challenged him, the wind chimes outside clinking softly as if echoing her escalating tension. "Jess, it's not what you think. Emma's just a friend from the past," he replied, his tone defensive.
"Is she? Because it sure doesn't feel that way," Jessica shot back, her voice rising. "You've been distant lately, and now this card. I can't help but feel like there's more to this story." Mark sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's complicated. We had unfinished business, but I swear, it's over. I chose you."
For a moment, silence enveloped them, the chaos of the party fading into the background. Jessica's mind spun with a mix of emotions, anger,
hurt, and a flicker of hope. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked softly, her voice cracking. Mark stepped closer, his eyes earnest. "I didn't want to burden you. I thought I could just move on." Cultural reflection. In the porch, it hurt like strength. Jessica took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on her chest. "But you didn't. You kept it from me. That's not how a marriage should work." Mark looked down, shame washing over his features. "You're right. I should have been honest. I just didn't want to hurt you." As they stood on the brink of confrontation, Jessica realized that this moment could be a turning point. She had to confront the secrets that had been buried too long. "Mark, we need to be open with each other, no matter how painful." "You're right, Jess. I'll fix this, I promise," he said, reaching for her hand. But as she looked into his eyes, Jessica felt the weight of the Christmas card linger in her mind. The shadows of the past intertwining with the promise of their future. Reflection? That moment at the porch changed everything. This holiday season was turning out to be unlike any other, and as Jessica prepared to navigate the choppy waters of their relationship, she knew she had to brace herself for whatever lay ahead. The card had opened a door she couldn't ignore, and now it was up to her to decide what to do next. Jessica's heart raced as she stood in the kitchen, the smell of pancakes wafting through the air, but she had no appetite. The Christmas card sat on the table, its simple message echoing in her mind. "Thinking of you this holiday season." It felt like a bad joke, and the absence of a name only made it worse. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "I can't believe this," she muttered, her fingers trembling slightly as they brushed against the edges of the card. When Mark walked in, she could see he was oblivious. A casual smile on his face as he poured himself a cup of coffee. The birds chirped outside, their cheerful song contrasting sharply with the turmoil brewing inside her. "Mark, we need to talk," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. He turned, raising an eyebrow. "About what?" "About this," Jessica said, holding up the card. "I found this on the table." "Oh, that?" Mark shrugged, dismissing it with a wave of his hand. "It's probably just a mistake. People send cards all the time." Frustration bubbled inside her, and she took a step closer. "A mistake? Mark, it was unmarked. Who sends a card with no name? This isn't just some random occurrence. It's personal." He sighed, his gaze shifting to the window. "I think you're overreacting, Jess. It could be from anyone." Jessica's heart sank. Anyone? You mean like your ex-wife? The word felt heavy on her tongue, as if it was something she had never truly accepted. Mark's expression shifted, a flicker of something. Guilt? Passing over his face. That was a long time ago. I thought we were past that. Past what? The fact that she loved you? Jessica challenged, her voice rising. How can I not think about it when I find a card from her? It feels like you're hiding something. He opened his mouth, then closed it, clearly struggling to find the right words. I'm not hiding anything. Look, I'll talk to her if it makes you feel better. Jessica felt a pang of bitterness. You think that's going to help? I need more than reassurances, Mark. I need to know the truth. As her frustration mounted, she made a decision. She would find out more about Emma. Maybe it was time to confront this ghost from Mark's past head on. The next day, while running errands, Jessica stopped by a local cafe. The rain had just begun to fall, creating a fresh, earthy scent that filled the air. As she walked inside, she caught sight of a familiar figure seated in a corner. Emma. Her heart raced again, but this time with determination. Jessica. Emma looked up, surprise evident on her face. What a coincidence. Right, Jessica replied, forcing a smile as she approached. Mind if I join you? Of course, Emma said, gesturing to the empty chair. How have you been? Busy with the holidays, Jessica replied, trying to keep the conversation light, but her mind was racing. I actually received your Christmas card. Emma's expression faltered for just a moment. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I thought I had the wrong address. Is that why it was unmarked? Jessica pressed, her voice steady but her heart pounding. I thought it was kind of strange. Emma hesitated, her gaze drifting to the window where raindrops raced each other down the glass. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I just wanted to reach out. I guess I still think about him sometimes. Jessica's stomach churned. You mean Mark? Yes, Emma admitted softly, her eyes meeting Jessica's. We had something special, but it was complicated. I never got closure. Jessica's breath caught in her throat. Closure? So you still have feelings for him? Emma bit her lip, clearly uncomfortable. I've moved on, really, but it's hard to forget someone who meant so much, especially when I see how happy you both are. Jessica felt a surge of protectiveness. Happy? I'm not so sure anymore. I just found out you've been thinking about him, and it makes me question everything. Emma sighed, her expression softening. I never meant to intrude on your life. I wanted to wish you well, that's all. The tension hung between them, and Jessica realized this conversation was leading her somewhere unexpected. You know what, Emma? Maybe we both need to find a way to move forward. You with your past, and me with my fears. Emma nodded slowly. That sounds fair. It's not easy, but I think it's possible. Jessica's heart softened slightly. Maybe we could even help each other out. As they exchanged numbers, she felt a strange sense of hope. But as she left the cafe, she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over yet. In her kitchen, the aroma of pancakes lingered, a reminder of the comfort she once felt. Now it was mixed with uncertainty and an unfamiliar resolve. In the kitchen, it hurt like hope. As she stepped outside, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a fresh scent on the pavement. She couldn't predict what would come next, but for the first time in days, she felt a glimmer of possibility. I can't believe you did this, Jessica exclaimed. Mark tried to explain, but words failed him. The morning sun cast a warm glow over the porch as Jessica sat with her coffee, the rich aroma curling around her senses like a comforting blanket. Birds chirped merrily in the distance, but her mind was a whirlpool of confusion and anger. After her confrontation with Mark, her heart sank deeper into despair. How could he have kept this from her? With a trembling hand, she reached for the Christmas card again, the one that had sparked all this turmoil. The envelope was still unmarked, but the words inside haunted her. Jessica pulled out the card, flipping it open once more. The inscription, with its elegant cursive, echoed in her mind. "Thinking of you this holiday season." It felt like a ghost from the past, whispering secrets she had never wanted to hear. Suddenly, her eyes caught something glimmering inside the card. A folded piece of paper slipped out, and her breath caught in her throat. It was a note, written in the same familiar handwriting. As she unfolded it, her heart raced. The words spilled out, overflowing with longing and nostalgia. "I often think about the holidays we shared, and how much I miss those moments." "Oh my God," she thought, feeling the walls of her perfect life crumble around her. Jessica could hear Mark moving around in the kitchen, the sound of pancake batter sizzling on the griddle contrasting sharply with the chaos in her mind. She stood abruptly, the note trembling in her hand, and stormed inside. Mark turned, a spatula in hand, his face lighting up with a smile that quickly faded as he saw her expression. "Jess, what's wrong?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "This," she shouted, holding up the card and the note. "Who is Emma? Why didn't you tell me about her?" Mark's face fell, and for a brief moment, silence enveloped them like a thick fog. "I thought it was over, Jess. I thought I had moved on." "Moved on?" Jessica's voice cracked, the betrayal slicing through her. "You still have feelings for her, don't you?" He ran a hand through his hair, visibly struggling to find the right words. "It's complicated. Emma, she was part of my past. I never wanted to bring her into our life. I thought we were happy." "Happy? Is that what you call this?" Jessica's heart raced, feeling the weight of her emotions crashing down on her. "You didn't even have the decency to tell me about her. All this time, I thought I was the only one." Mark stepped closer, desperation in his eyes. "I didn't want to hurt you. I swear, I thought I could leave it behind. But seeing that card brought everything back. It stirred up feelings I thought I had buried." Jessica felt as if the floor beneath her was giving way. "You buried them? You didn't think I deserved to know?" My heart sank the moment I saw that card, and now this? Mark opened his mouth to respond, but Jessica wasn't finished. "What else are you hiding from me, Mark? What else is out there?" He sighed, his shoulders slumping, as if the weight of his secrets was finally catching up with him. "Nothing, I promise. It was just feelings, nothing more than memories. I love you, Jessica. I chose you." "But you didn't choose to be honest with me," she shot back, her voice trembling with anger and hurt. For a moment, they stood in silence, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Jessica could feel the betrayal in her chest, a gnawing pain that refused to fade. She glanced outside, the morning light illuminating the frost on the ground, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside her. Cultural reflection. In the porch, it hurt like betrayal. "Maybe I should have told you sooner," Mark finally said, his voice low. "I was scared of losing you." "Scared?" she echoed, disbelief coloring her tone. "You should have been more scared of what hiding this would do to us. Do you even understand how this feels?" Mark stepped back, his expression pained. "I can't change the past, Jess, but I want to make it right. I need you to believe that." Jessica shook her head, frustration bubbling over. "Believe what? That everything you shared with me was real? Or that your past doesn't still haunt you?" "Please, just listen," he pleaded, stepping closer. "This doesn't change what we have, does it? I want to work through this, together." Jessica looked into his eyes, searching for the love she thought she knew, but the shadows of his past loomed large. And she could feel herself unraveling. The warmth of the coffee no longer comforted her. Instead, it felt like a bitter reminder of the sweetness that had turned sour. "I don't know if I can do this right now," she whispered, her voice heavy with uncertainty. Mark's face fell, and for the first time, Jessica saw the cracks in his facade. "I'm sorry, Jess. I never meant to hurt you. I need you to understand that." But as she stood there, the Christmas card still clutched in her hand, Jessica felt an unfamiliar heaviness in her heart. The walls of their life together felt suddenly fragile, and she realized that the love she thought was unshakable had been tested in ways she had never imagined. The porch, once a place of warmth and laughter, now echoed with the chilling realization that sometimes the past refuses to stay buried. "I can't believe this," Jessica whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Mark said desperately. Jessica sat cross-legged on the living room floor, surrounded by the remnants of her Christmas crafting supplies. Glitters sparkled in the low afternoon light, reflecting her mixed emotions. She had taken some time to journal her feelings, pouring out her heart onto the pages with a pen that felt heavier than usual. The air was filled with a comforting smell of apple pie baking in the oven, a sweet reminder of the warmth she wanted to cultivate in her home. She paused, glancing at the half-finished gift nestled beside her, a scrapbook filled with memories of her and Mark's life together. Each page was a testament to their journey, adorned with photos from their wedding, vacations, and the quiet moments that had built the foundation of their love. But the unmarked Christmas card loomed in her mind, a dark cloud threatening to overshadow her efforts. In that moment, the sound of birds chirping outside her window broke through her thoughts. And she felt a flicker of hope. "I can do this," she whispered to herself, determined. She had to confront her fears, the insecurities that had gripped her since she discovered the card. Mark had loved someone else before her, and while she understood that he had a past, the pain of it was still fresh. She had to know where she stood in his life. The rain began to patter softly against the pavement outside, a soothing rhythm that calmed her racing heart. Cultural reflection, in the living room, it hurt like hope. She picked up her journal again, scribbling her thoughts fervently. "I love him," she wrote, "and I won't let fear dictate my happiness." As she closed the journal, she took a deep breath, the scent of rain mingling with the aroma of apple pie. Jessica knew she needed to speak to Mark about the card and the emotions it had stirred. It was time to bring everything into the light, to reclaim her sense of self-worth. Later that evening, as Mark returned from work, Jessica's heart raced. She had set the scene: soft lights, the pie cooling on the kitchen counter, and the scrapbook waiting for its unveiling. When he walked in, she forced a smile, hiding the turmoil beneath. "Hey, how was your day?" he asked, removing his coat. "Busy, but I'm glad you're home," she replied, trying to sound casual. But as they settled on the couch, the weight of her unspoken words loomed between them. "Jess, is everything okay?" Mark's voice was laced with concern. Taking a deep breath, Jessica decided to plunge in. "We need to talk about the Christmas card," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Mark's expression shifted, a flicker of unease crossing his face. "Oh, that. I didn't think it would bother you," he admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. "It does bother me. It's not just a card, Mark. It's a reminder that you had a life before me, a life that I know nothing about," she said, the frustration bubbling to the surface. "I can't help but wonder what you feel for her." Mark's eyes widened, and he leaned forward, his tone earnest. "Jessica, I love you. That was a different time in my life. It's complicated, but it's over. You're my present and my future." Jessica felt her heart sink for a moment. "But how can I compete with the past? I see her in the shadows of our life together, and I don't want to feel this way. I need to know you're with me, completely." Mark's gaze softened as he reached for her hands. "You have no idea how much I cherish you. Yes, I had a past, but it's you who makes me whole. I want to build our future together, not dwell on what was." Jessica could feel the warmth of his touch, the sincerity in his eyes, but doubt still lingered. Thought, the smell of apple pie brought painful memories. She squeezed his hands tighter, searching for reassurance. "Then help me understand. Show me that you're committed to us." In that moment, she decided to reveal the scrapbook, her heart pounding with vulnerability. "I made this for you," she said, gesturing to the carefully crafted pages. "It's filled with our memories, proof of our love. I want you to see how much you mean to me and how much I want to fight for us." Mark's expression shifted from concern to surprise, and then to admiration as he flipped through the pages. "Jessica, this is amazing. You put so much thought into this. I had no idea you felt this way." Jessica nodded, feeling a mix of relief and hope. "I want us to move forward together. We need to confront the shadows of the past, but I need you to stand by me while we do." Mark pulled her into an embrace, his warmth wrapping around her like a promise. "I'm here, Jess. Always." As she melted into his arms, Jessica realized that while the past would always be part of their story, it didn't have to define their future. Together, they could confront whatever lay ahead. In the stillness of their living room, with the scent of apple pie and the sound of rain in the background, hope flickered brightly, illuminating the path forward. Jessica sat on the porch, the crisp morning air mingling with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Wind chimes tinkled softly in the background, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. She clutched the Christmas card in her hand, its paper feeling like a weight she could no longer bear. Today was the day she would confront Mark's past head-on. The meeting was set for noon, and as the clock ticked closer, her heart raced. She had invited Mark's ex-wife, Mark, to discuss the card and the unspoken tension that lingered between them. Jessica's mind was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, confusion, and a flicker of fear. "Oh my God, what if this all blows up in my face?" she muttered under her breath, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Tara, her sister, watched Jessica with narrowed eyes, her own jealousy simmering just beneath the surface. "You really think this is a good idea?" Tara questioned, her arms crossed. "You're just going to open old wounds, Jess." "This is about closure, Tara. I need to know the truth," Jessica replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "I can't just pretend this card doesn't exist." As noon approached, the weight of anticipation pressed heavily on her chest. When the doorbell rang, Jessica's heart sank. She opened the door to find Mark's ex-wife, Emma, standing there with an air of defiance. Emma looked just as conflicted as Jessica felt, and for a moment they simply stared at each other, both unsure how to proceed. "Thanks for coming," Jessica finally said, attempting to break the ice. "We need to talk about the Christmas card." Emma stepped inside, her gaze darting around the cozy living room before landing back on Jessica. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble. It was just a card," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wanted to wish Mark well." "Well? Is that all it was?" Jessica shot back, the fire in her eyes flaring. "You know how I feel about you reaching out to him. This isn't just a casual hello, it's a reminder of your past with him." Emma's expression hardened, and she leaned in closer. "You don't understand. Mark has always been complicated for me. Sending the card was my way of letting go, not stirring things up." "Letting go?" Jessica laughed bitterly, shaking her head. "You think this is just about you? My heart sank when I saw that card. It felt like you were tearing down everything we built together." Their voices rose, echoing in the stillness of the house. Just then, the door swung open, and Mark stepped in, his eyes wide with surprise. "What's going on here?" he asked, taking in the charged atmosphere. "Perfect timing," Jessica said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Emma and I were just discussing your past." Mark's gaze flickered between the two women. "I didn't know you were meeting," he said, trying to defuse the situation. "Let's talk about this calmly," Jessica scoffed, her frustration boiling over. "Calmly? After I found your ex-wife sending me cryptic Christmas cards?" She took a step closer to him, her hands balled into fists. "Do you even understand how much this hurts?" "Jessica, please," Mark pleaded, his voice strained. "I didn't ask her to send anything. You know it's not like that." "Then what is it like, Mark? Because I can't make sense of any of this," Jessica exclaimed, her voice cracking with emotion. "I just wanted to have a normal Christmas, but now I'm here feeling like a fool." Emma interjected, her voice rising to match Jessica's intensity. "I came here to clear the air. I didn't mean for this to escalate." "You think I wanted to be in this position?" Jessica shot back, her eyes locked on Emma. "You might be over him, but I'm still living with the aftermath of your history. Every time I see you, it's like I'm reminded of what I'm up against." The tension in the room was palpable. And in that moment, Jessica felt a surge of power. "You know what? I'm tired of living in your shadow," she declared. "You might have loved him first, but I'm the one who's here now." Mark's face turned pale as he realized the gravity of the situation. "Both of you stop!" he shouted, his voice echoing against the walls. "This isn't helping. I never wanted any of this." But Jessica wasn't done. "Then tell me the truth, Mark. What do you feel? Because if this card means anything, I deserve to know." In that instant, a crack formed in Mark's facade. "I still care for Emma, but I love you, Jessica," he shouted, his words hanging heavy in the air. "I chose you, but I can't just erase my past." Jessica's breath caught in her throat. The truth struck her like a slap to the face. "I can't believe this," she whispered, her heart racing. "You never told me." Emma stood frozen, her own emotions swirling. "You're right, Mark. We need to face this," she said softly, her resolve crumbling. The room fell into an uneasy silence, the weight of revelations hanging thick in the air. Jessica's mind spun as she processed the raw honesty laid bare before her. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a reckoning. The dynamic had shifted irrevocably, and now she had to decide what her next move would be. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a warm glow across Jessica's backyard. The smell of rain on pavement lingered in the air, a familiar scent that always brought her comfort. Yet today, it felt heavy with unspoken truths. She stood by the patio, a plate of pancakes cooling beside her, untouched. The birds chirped merrily, oblivious to the storm brewing in her heart. After the meeting with Mark's ex-wife, Jessica had taken the time to process everything. The conversation had been intense but necessary. Mark had listened as she poured out her feelings, her fears, and the pain the Christmas card had caused. "I can't believe this is happening," she had said, her voice trembling. "You let her back into our lives with a simple card?" Mark had looked down, shame etched on his features. "I never meant for you to find out this way," he had replied softly. "I thought it was all behind me." In that moment, Jessica's heart sank, heavy with betrayal, yet yearning for understanding. She had wanted to scream, to cry, but instead, she took a deep breath. "We can't move forward if you keep holding on to her, Mark." He had nodded slowly, his eyes meeting hers with a newfound determination. "I want to be with you, Jess. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that to you." The sincerity in his voice flickered a light of hope within her, pushing aside the shadows of doubt. As the days passed, Jessica found herself grappling with the aftermath of that conversation. She felt like she was standing on a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. It was a struggle to reconcile her feelings about Mark's past with the future she wanted to build together. But then came the realization that she needed to embrace the present. The holidays were approaching, a time of joy, community, and healing. On a crisp December morning, with a gentle breeze sweeping through the yard, Jessica decided to organize a community event. "We can bring everyone together," she told Frank over coffee. "It'll help me heal and maybe even mend some fences." He smiled, always her biggest supporter. "That sounds like a great idea, Jess. You've got this." The event came to life in the backyard, filled with laughter, chatter, and the smell of freshly baked cookies. As neighbors gathered, Jessica noticed Tara standing slightly apart, her expression a mix of resentment and awe. Jessica approached her, the warmth of the gathering contrasting the cool tension that had often existed between them. "Tara, I know we've had our differences," Jessica began, her voice steady, "but I want us to be close again. family should come first, especially during the holidays. Tara looked surprised, her defenses lowering as she took a moment to respond. Maybe we both could try harder, Tara admitted, her voice softening. It's just, I've always felt like I was in your shadow. The honesty in Tara's admission was a turning point, and Jessica nodded, feeling a weight lift. We can support each other. Let's make this a time for new beginnings. In that moment, they forged a tentative bond that shimmered with potential. As the festivities continued, Jessica noticed Mark laughing with some friends, the tension between them easing. The event was a success, and she felt a surge of pride as the community came together, celebrating the spirit of the season. She found herself smiling, the joy washing over her like a warm embrace, slowly dissolving the remnants of doubt and fear. Later that evening, as the last guests departed, Jessica stood by the porch, gazing at the twinkling lights that adorned the trees. Mark joined her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. You did an amazing job today, Jess. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, she replied, leaning into him. I realized that moving forward means letting go of the past, but it doesn't mean forgetting it. She took a deep breath, filled with hope. We can build a future together, one step at a time. Mark nodded, his eyes reflecting the sincerity of his commitment. I'm all in, Jess, I promise. As they stood together, Jessica felt a sense of peace settle over her. The air was crisp, the sounds of laughter fading into the night, but she knew she was not alone. They had faced the storm and emerged on the other side, ready to embrace whatever came next. In that moment, she understood the bittersweet beauty of the holiday season, a time for reflection, healing, and renewal. It was a lesson learned, one that echoed in her heart like a gentle reminder. Sometimes it takes a card without a name to reveal the truth, she mused aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. And you, on your porch? How will you embrace the past to build your future? Mark turned to her, his brow furrowed slightly as he considered her words. What do you mean, Jess? He asked, his voice steady but laced with curiosity. Jessica took a moment to gather her thoughts, feeling the cool breeze brush against her skin. I mean, it's about acknowledging where we've come from, she replied, her gaze drifting to the twinkling lights. Those memories, both good and bad, they shape us, but they don't have to define our future. Mark nodded slowly, clearly processing her words. So, you think we should talk about the past more? Like, really talk? Yeah, Jessica replied, her heart racing at the thought. I want us to understand each other better. It's not just about your past with Tara, it's about everything that brought us here. I want us to be open, to share our fears and dreams. The porch creaked as they shifted their weight, the air thick with unspoken feelings. Jessica felt a rush of vulnerability as she looked at him. I need to know that we can face whatever comes next, together. Mark's expression softened, and he took her hand, intertwining their fingers. I want that too, Jess. I promise to be more open, to let you in. They stood in silence for a moment, the sounds of the neighborhood settling into a comforting hum. The distant laughter from the party, now a memory, mingled with the rustling leaves and the soft chime of wind chimes hanging nearby. Let's make a pact, Jessica suggested suddenly, her voice strong and clear. To share something every week. It could be a memory, a fear, a dream, anything, just so we keep this connection alive. Mark smiled, his eyes sparkling with admiration. I love that idea. It's like our own little tradition. Jessica felt a warmth spread through her chest at the thought of this new ritual. Yes, and we can always add some fun to it, maybe over coffee on Sunday mornings? Coffee and confessions, he grinned, the tension between them dissipating like the fog of the morning. Exactly, Jessica laughed, feeling lighter than she had in days. I can't wait. As they stood together, enveloped in the warmth of their burgeoning bond, Jessica realized that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but it would be worth every step. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their pasts, shaping a future that was uniquely their own.